Surprise Comics.
In this video, we have an unboxing of sorts. It's not your typical CGC unboxing. I have some holy grails that have found their way into Bry's Comics and also some awesome spec books that just came back from CGC. So we've got a bunch of spec information to go along with the books. And if you clicked on this video to see the holy grails, I'm going to start with those first. I thought, oh, maybe I can pepper them in throughout the video and make them watch the whole thing to see all the grails. And I thought, I don't want to be that YouTuber. I don't want to trick people into watching my content. So we're going to start out with the grails right away. So these are books that came in from a buddy of mine. They're on consignment, but it works just like any other book on my site. You buy it off my site. I have it in hand. It's ready to ship. And for these holy grails, we will probably do overnight shipping, insured, signature confirmation, all of that. So feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions or you want to see additional pictures or anything like that. But first off, we have XMen #2 in a CGC 9.2 signed by Stan Lee. This is the first appearance of the Vanisher and the second team appearance of the X-Men and the second appearance overall of Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Iceman, Professor X, Angel, Beast. It has vibrant red colors. I mean, it looks like this thing just rolled off of the printer. It's the only 9.2 signed by Stan Lee. It will always be the only 9.2 signed by Stan Lee. There's only one higher grade signed, a 9.6, which has never even surfaced or come up for sale. This is an incredibly rare piece of comic book history. Go Collect has the fair market value of a 9.2 for X-Men #2 at $18,000. We have it listed for $17,000 on the website, $1,000 under FMV for a blue label, but this is signed by Stan Lee. It's the only one in the world. And I did a whole video about how much of a premium does a Stan Lee signature add to a book. And you can go watch that video. I'll put a link in the description, but I'll give you the cliff notes right here. Basically, a standard run-of-the-mill book with a ton of Stan Lee signatures available is valued anywhere between $200 and $400. And then as the signature gets more rare, it gets more valuable. To the all-time high premium that I've seen for a Stan Lee signature, it was coupled with a Jack Kirby signature, but it was $20,000 premium over the same book in the same grade in the same month that sold. And I've seen sales of $10,000 for a Stan Lee signature, the premium, and consistent sales around $1,500, $2,000 premium for those mid to high range books. But for the super high grade books, you can get some pretty silly premiums for a Stan Lee signature because it's the only one. This one also has the custom retired Stan Lee signature label. And I, for one, personally am a Stan Lee signature collector. I think it adds a level of rarity and a level of cool to the collectible. The fact that the creator of this, the creator that started everything that kicked off the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU as we know it, superheroes as we know it, held and signed this actual copy. To me, it's important. I know it's important to a lot of other collectors as well, and I know some people could care less if it was signed by Stan Lee. Either way, it's a really, really rare, really cool collectible. And what a feather to put in your cap to say that you own an X-Men #2 that is the only one in the world. It's one of one, and it will always be one of one. And of course, another thing to mention about this book is that we are still pre-announcement on X-Men. We haven't got any confirmation about the X-Men in the MCU, but we all know it's coming, and it could be coming soon. All right, and in the same spirit, we have X-Men #9 in a 9.2 signed by Stan Lee. There's only 4 graded copies signed by Stan Lee in this grade and none higher. So if you owned this book, you have 1 of 4 with none higher. And you will always have the highest graded example of this book signed by Stan Lee. And this is the first meeting of the X-Men and the Avengers. It's also the first appearance of Lucifer, and it's the first battle between the X-Men and the Avengers. And I think we all know that an X-Men announcement for the X-Men coming to the MCU is right around the corner, and I think it's safe to assume that what follows that is some kind of X-Men versus Avengers thing, and so this book is going to pop. It's going to explode in a big way when that does happen on the big screen. Expect this to hit the trending list, the hot list, all of that. Just a really cool piece of comic book history as well. The last grail, we have Incredible Hulk #2 in a CGC 7.5. This is the first appearance of the Green Hulk, the second appearance of the Incredible Hulk overall, and the second appearance of General Ross, Betty, and Rick Jones. It's also the first appearance of the Toadmen, and this Incredible Hulk run, the first 5 issues, were incredibly significant to comic book history. Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Steve Ditko, that incredible trio of content creators, experimented a lot with the Incredible Hulk, with his intellect levels, how he appears. You know, he started out as the gray character, and then they changed him to green, which is the Hulk that we all know and love. Of course, all those different intellect levels, just such an incredibly important piece of comic book history. Now, for pricing on this one, there have been 2 record-breaking sales. Last week, it was on the hot list for record-breaking sales in 2 different grades. One grade saw a 69% increase from just a couple months prior, and one grade saw an over 50% increase from just a couple months prior. So this book is priced at 50% higher than the most recent sale being $7,200. So this is priced at $10,800, which is less of an increase than those 2 record-breaking sales, which is how we came up with that number. All right, so now let's get into some other books that I actually recently bought some collections. First up here from this collection, we have Amazing Spider-Man 365, that awesome hologram cover in a CGC 9.8 white pages. First appearance of Spider-Man 29. That book has been picking up some serious steam lately. And also part of that collection is Usagi Yojimbo #6. Look at that awesome foil Albedo #2 cover homage. 35th anniversary foil edition, signed and sketched by Stan Sakai. Really, really cool sketch by Stan Sakai too. He didn't skimp on this sketch at all. Just an awesome foil cover, and even the back is a full foil cover. Really, really cool collectible right there. Also in that collection was Venom 33, signed and remarked by Patrick Gleason. It says, "We are Venom," which was the super limited version of this, so it's definitely the most rare of all the exclusives for that issue. All right, next up we have Spider-Verse #1 from 2019, and this is the first appearance of Spider-Zero, and there's speculation that she is related to Miles Morales in some way because she has the same stuffed animal as Miles Morales' sister in another issue. And this is also the first appearance of Spider-Monster and Lord Spider, and the first appearance of fan-created Spider persona, Spider Rec Room, V, and the Spinster. So this book definitely has some serious spec potential and is incredibly reasonably priced. And this is the brown 1 in 25 variant cover for that same book. All right, next up from that collection is Thor, God of Thunder #2. First appearance of Gore the God Butcher and All Black, the Necro Sword. This book is on fire right now, especially with the movie right around the corner with the confirmation of Christian Bale in the role of Gore the God Butcher. All right, 2 more books from that collection. Amazing Spider-Man 55, signed by Patrick Gleason. This is my favorite of all the webhead covers. The blue with the gold label just really, really does it justice. Last book from that collection is Marvel Spotlight #32, first appearance of Spider-Woman in a CGC 9.6, origin and first appearance of Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew. Definitely a good investment in my opinion. I think eventually, beyond a shadow of a doubt, we'll get Spider-Woman in the MCU. Who knows how long it will take, but eventually, right? So a solid investment in my opinion. All right, now this book needs no introduction. Darth Vader #3, the 1 in 25 variant. First appearance of Dr. Aphra and 000 and BT1. Just an incredible Star Wars key to have. There's a rumor that we're going to get Dr. Aphra in her own Disney Plus series, which would skyrocket this book. And this book I did on a trade for some Something is Killing the Children stuff. All right, now on to some stuff that I submitted. We have A-Force #1. This is the first appearance of A-Force, which is an all-female Avengers team, and it's also the first appearance of Singularity. And you don't have to follow the MCU closely at all to know that this team is highly likely in the MCU. They are just itching to do an all-female Avengers team in the MCU. And I was watching Avengers Endgame last night, and I remember watching it in the theaters too, and the crowd erupted when we got to the scene where it was all females that stood up against Thanos and got the Infinity Gauntlet across the battlefield to end the battle. And it just made me think of this book, and I was like, oh yeah, it's happening. It's gonna happen. The fan response in the movie theater when that event took place is just shows you why Marvel is heading in that direction, why they're chomping at the bit to do an all-female team and to have this diversity characters and stuff. It's just received so well from the general public. So I think that this book is a sleeper, especially at the price that you can pick it up now. All right, next up we have a couple books that are optioned coming to HBO. Cover number 1, a David Mack cover, and the Zoo Orzu variant. Both very affordable, awesome artwork, and that is a show that's supposedly coming to HBO Max. Here's another optioned indie that hasn't been talked about too much lately, Tokyo Ghost number 1. It's the first appearance of Led Dent, Debbie Decay, and Davey Trauma. And this is optioned by Legendary with a producer attached. And I, for one, would love to see that movie. There's been such awesome pictures coming out of Legendary, like King Kong and all of these current comic book properties that are optioned by Legendary. I'm really looking forward to them actually coming to fruition. Amazing Spider-Man number 55, the first print, the webhead Patrick Gleason cover that started it all. Nothing spec about this. In fact, it's come down significantly in price. But what I love about this book is being able to give it away as gifts. I'm going to give one to my nephew, to my son. It makes a great gift for people because anyone, no matter who you are, even if you're not into comic books, loves that image. It's striking. You're like, whoa, that's a cool Spider-Man image. And so my little plan there is to pull people into the hobby by gifting this awesome cover by Patrick Gleason. I'm super excited that a bunch of these came back, 9.8 for me. Secret Wars 2, number 3, the first full appearance of the Beyonder. And there's speculation that there's going to be a Secret Wars story arc in the MCU, and if they do this Secret Wars, you can't do this Secret Wars without the Beyonders. Next up, we have a couple cover lovers. My favorite Boba Fett cover of all time, Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters Alpha number 1. It's the first appearance of Doc Raygon and the first mention of Werman Lichter, and this is just incredible, stunning artwork by Inyahuk Lee. Incredible book right there. So there's that version and this trade dress version. In keeping with the Star Wars theme, this one is a banger, you guys. Darth Vader number 1, the 1 in 50 Alex Ross incentive cover. Just incredible artwork. It's the first appearance of Black Chrysanthemum, a Wookiee bounty hunter who's speculated to appear in the next season of The Mandalorian. And it's also the first cameo appearance of Dr. Silo. It's also the first solo series for Darth Vader. Ton of stuff going on for this book. The Black Chrysanthemum is the big spec behind this, and if that hits, expect this book to skyrocket. So next up, I got some more copies of Mighty Avengers number 1, the cover A and the Deadpool variant cover. First appearance of Monica Rambeau as Spectrum. Now here's a book that was not that hot when I first started getting it slabbed, but now it has a whole different life. This is Young Avengers Volume 2, number 1, and it's the first appearance of a new Young Avengers team. And what I love about this book now, because when I first started getting it, people kind of hated on it. They were like, yeah, it's Young Avengers, but it's not, that team isn't going to be the one that shows up in the MCU. And the fact of the matter is that if they do Young Avengers in the MCU, which I think is all but certain, I mean, they've introduced so many characters already from the team, and if they do it, it's the team isn't going to match any team in the comics exactly. That's very common in the MCU, is they pick and pull from a bunch of different series and make something new in the MCU. What I love about this book now is it's the first time that Kid Loki joins the Young Avengers, and Kid Loki is in the MCU, so of course if they do Young Avengers, I mean, Kid Loki is going to be part of it, and this book will be super desirable because of that. It's also the first time that Nova far, Wiccan, Hulkling, and Miss America joined the Young Avengers. But the Kid Loki one, the most likely of all of those because he's already in the MCU. So yeah, so that book went from questionable spec to actually a pretty solid spec. Next up, we have a cover lovers thing. We have Amazing Spider-Man Venom 3D #1. This reprints ASM 300 in 3D, and it comes with these awesome 3D glasses. It's a really cool way to read ASM 300. If you can find a raw copy with the glasses, I highly recommend it. Now we finally got back some Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme #1, first appearance of Kushala, first appearance of Nina the Conjurer, Mindful One, and first team appearance of the Forgotten. Tons of spec going on with that book. The action figure variant, which in my opinion should be the hotter of the two books because it adds to all that spec the first cover appearance of Nina the Conjurer. So I would prefer the action figure variant over the cover A, but the market seems to prefer cover A. Next up, we got some Spider-Gwen spec, which also, with the prices right now, why not put a couple of these in your collection? We have Spider-Gwen #1, first solo series for Spider-Gwen, and this is the Midtown Comics Sketch Edition. And I also got the Scotty Young version of Spider-Gwen #1, and the Spider-Gwen #1 cover A, Radioactive, Robbie Rodriguez cover. Just an epic cover in my opinion. And the last thing for Spider-Gwen is Spider-Gwen #0. This reprints the Edge of Spider-Verse #2, the first appearance of Gwen Stacy as the new Spider-Woman, and it's the same cover, so it's just like the poor man's version of the regular one. So I expect this book, if we get any kind of announcement about Spider-Gwen, once Edge of Spider-Verse 2 starts passing $2,000, which I'm sure is totally within the realm of possibilities, I think this could be a $200 to $300 book. And right now, it's way more affordable than that. Speaking of affordable books, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #95, the second print with the awesome Kevin Eastman back cover. This is the first appearance of Jenica as a Ninja Turtle. And then we have Taskmaster #3, the second print 1 in 25 sketch version. And this is the first appearance of Taeguki, the South Korean superhero. And last but not least, King in Black Gwenom versus Carnage #1, the 1 in 25 Inyahuk Lee incentive cover. Just incredible artwork. My all-time favorite Gwenom cover, and also really reasonably priced. Make sure to smash like, subscribe, comment down below, and like this video, and you're entered to win the 8K giveaway. And I'll run the giveaway prizes here. And if you're peacing out at this point, thank you so much for sticking with me all the way to the end of the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye. All right, so here's all the books so far for the 8K giveaway. Infamous Iron Man #1, Invincible Iron Man #1, The Recount #1, Ben Templesmith exclusive cover, Nice House on the Lake #1 cover B, and Berserker #1 third print foil. That goes to winner #1. And winner #2 gets all of these awesome premium virgin exclusives from Dynamite Comics. We got Sacred 6 #1 and all of these awesome exclusives. Check out that Vampy right there. Shout out to Dynamite Comics for all of these cool premium books. And winner #2 will also win these two slabs. Red Sonja Birth of She-Devil #1 in a CGC 9/8 by Lucio Parrillo, and Vengeance of Vampirella Volume 2 #9, also by Lucio Parrillo. So winner #2 gets these two slabs and all of these premium raw books. Shout out once again to Dynamite Comics for all of these awesome books for the 8K giveaway. Link down in the description to check out everything that Dynamite Comics has going on.
GRAILS Comics.